So here's a creative title for you, The Karen Generation. And I'm not against people that are, I have met very nice, sweet old ladies. I have. But the old ladies of today, I mean, the old ladies of yesteryear, you could put them into two categories. Those who refused to dye their hair, but they had it done meticulously. And then there were the ladies like one of my grandmothers. She continued to dye her hair blonde until she expired. I mean, she would wear makeup every day. Really, she looked pretty good for her age. She died like, I don't know, like in her 70s or something. And then there are those people that just refuse to dye their hair. My mother wasn't one of those, so. Are we being confused now? Well, we have my grandmother's generation and we have my mother's generation. I would put my mother's generation in the category of the Karens. Because they're so holy roller, they're so judgmental. I don't know what made them so uppity. Is it because the women's liberation movement, women's lib? Mom, you made a huge mistake getting involved sexually with your coworker while you were married to my father, and he was married to a lady that had 3 nice kids and a nice house. It's like, how could you make such a mistake, Mom? And she's almost has like a Janis Joplin attitude. Don't you dare criticize me. It's all the same effing day. Mom, you can't sing like Janis Joplin. You have a nice voice, but don't have a good voice like her. She had an affair with a working professional. I met him. I was romanced by him and his sons, and even, by extension, his wife. I don't even know if the woman knew what was going on. One time I went to stay overnight. It's like, wow, this is like the funnest night of my life. I'm like 8 years old. Oh, wow, I've gained a couple of older brothers. I've gained a little sister. I have a family. I'm part of the family I always wanted, because I didn't have any siblings at the time, when I first encountered. Then my mother found out she was pregnant, and, well, it's my dad's son. I'm pretty much convinced of that. Because he had blonde hair and blue eyes, and the guy my mom was cheating with was kind of like a greasy-haired, Middle Eastern-looking type, kind of like me a little bit. But I'm very sure that I am my father's daughter. I just took after, the Middle Eastern part of my genome, I guess. I favored the Middle Eastern section of my genome. I'm not supposed to be judgmental. My mother is the one who took me to the Catholic Church. She insisted that I be baptized, so I wasn't a baby at the time. I was not immersed. I was sprinkled, I was anointed and I was sprinkled as the Catholics do. I wasn't a baby, and I loved the priest there. And I had my first communion. I had a beautiful dress, which we rented. We had to return it, but it was a beautiful white dress. How can you go from being a sincere Catholic to violating your marriage vows? I'm sorry, I just had to pause there a little bit. I saw pictures of my mother at her wedding, and it's like, oh, she looks great. She's wearing her wig and her hard contacts, her beautiful white dress, and everybody looks so happy. It's like, well, how did it go so wrong? And I know she couldn't have been pregnant with me at the time because it was like 10 years before I was born at least. So things are occurring to my mind, but I don't necessarily want to say some of these things. But yeah, I mean, one thing that occurs to me is like, how can these foreign people just come over here and just get these palatial houses? And they might even have goats living in their yard. How does that happen? I don't know. Well, my mother's parents certainly weren't wealthy, and my father's parents had emigrated. And one of them, the man was the breadwinner. He acquired Alzheimer's disease very early on. So I don't know how that woman got on in life. I don't know, because the guy was basically a vegetable after age 40-something. He was basically a vegetable, and she had to take care of him for a really long time. I'm not really sure what happened to him as a youth over there in Transylvania. Maybe got heavy metal poisoning, going into his brain. And why are they not finding a cure for Alzheimer's, or are they just going to MAID everybody? Now that's the thing. It's like, well, it's just time for MAID. Let's just find the most effective injection that doesn't cause a lot of problems. We just kill everybody that's got diseases. Canada, wow, I wish you didn't exist. Really, I wish you didn't exist. Shame on you. Every bad idea, it originated in Canada. It came over from Europe and then came down to us from Canada. I mean, Mexico, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about Mexico today. The promiscuity from Latin America, the lack of compassion for human life coming from Canada and Europe. Here I am, wedged in the middle of two ungodly cultures. And then after I'm married, really, not very long after I'm married, after 9/11, we started putting like an American flag on the side of our car. We only had one car. And we came out of the store at Meijer, which of course is based in Michigan. Oh, really? Michigan. Interesting. Some white kid starts mocking us like, I'm proud to be an American. Like, that's not the only time I was bullied outside of Meijer. Like, shortly after I had given birth, really, I don't know which kid it was. It might have been the fifth kid, I'm not sure. Some goth-looking person gets like extremely paranoid, and it's like, well, I mean, you've dyed your hair jet black, and you're a white chick, and you have all these piercings and tattoos, so if I glance over at you because you wanted attention, because you wanted to look like a freak, don't be surprised. And she says, why are you staring at me? I was like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm not staring at you. You just look like a freak. Anybody would look your direction, just like if you saw a tornado in the distance, you might glance over at it. I don't, to this day, I don't know what I did to that. She's probably working in a carnival somewhere now. But what did I ever do to you? Satan's little sister, whatever do you? I think we even have a baby in our shopping cart. Like, what the heck is wrong with you, bitch? She's white, so I'm allowed to call her a bitch. I mean, I'm allowed, right? Okay. But let's go back to my mother sitting across the table from me and telling me, your father and I, we're going to need a divorce. And she said, I have something to tell you. And then she wouldn't tell me right away. And I was like, oh no, Mom, you're sending me away to like a school, like what happened to Prince Charles, I'll be a public school twit before I know it. No, of course we're not going to send you away to school. That would be too expensive. Your father and I are getting a divorce. I burst out into tears immediately. I'm just a little girl, And this is how I remember it. I think she just sat across from the table and stared at me. If she patted my hand or my wrist or my arm, I don't remember that. I just feel like she just stared at me like she really was upset at me because I was upset about the news. And she's just thinking to herself, just get over it, chickie baby, you spoiled little bitch, get over it. Your father and I are getting a divorce. That's what she's thinking. I mean, there was no hug, no compassion, no crying with me. Just staring at me like I'm an object, like I'm a specimen under a microscope. But do I blame her? No, because my dad was not an easy person to live with. So I say this stuff not to be judgmental. I'm saying it did affect me. It affected me in a bad way. I couldn't trust people. I was scared of... I was put in so many different situations as a little child, babysitter to babysitter, teacher to teacher. One teacher I was so afraid of in the first grade. I hid under the desk from her. You hid under the desk from your first grade teacher? That's really sad. Yeah, it is really sad, isn't it? So if I'm not, if I'm socially awkward, there's an explanation for it. Sister. Why are you blaming me for everything? I didn't bring this upon myself. I didn't even ask to be born. But I was, I'm glad I'm alive. My brother, apparently he really resented having been born, so he killed himself. So, yeah. Mirthless laughter. Yeah, that's right. That's mirthless laughter. That's what that's called. You're correct. But I guess the whole point of my message was really supposed to, I saw these Catholic people talking about stuff. It's like, there are doctrinal issues that prevent me from being a Catholic. I'm just going to put it that way. Yeah. But I saw these two Catholic podcasters talking about the necessity of the father in the home. And now here I am, I'm the mother being rejected by my oldest son. Like, what did I really ever do to you? The counseling profession loves to estrange family members from one another. He started calling me a narcissist over a decade ago. I'm like, well, what's a narcissist? I don't even know. Like, he's emailing me. This is before we had cell phones. I have to look it up because I don't really know I know what polymorphous perverse is, and the Oedipus complex, because my dad constantly talked about that, but I'm a narcissist? Really? Well, maybe it's catching. Maybe you narcissist too. Oh. If there is psychopathy, if there is mental illness in the family, I can't be the root cause of all of it. I mean, I didn't tell my brother to jump off a building. I hadn't been talking to him for like 2 months, He went radio silent and then he jumped off a building, It's like, oh, your brother's dead. Oh, no, Mom, I'm sorry to hear that. There's mental illness in the family. I'm not the root cause of it. Why don't we try to support one another? But, the thing about this Catholic podcast, the guy he formerly lived a different lifestyle, let's just put it that way. And the girl is a little bit, a little bit Karen-ish, right? I'm like, well, I'll listen to you for a few minutes, but I'm not a Catholic, so you don't. I learned long ago, don't try to chime in if you're not a Catholic. They don't want to hear from you because they think only the Catholics are going to heaven. But the one thing that really, goodness, it has been provoking my interest is my brother in purgatory. The Catholic Church officially said purgatory doesn't exist. I found a post by a priest. He's very handsome, by the way, like 7 or 8 years ago. Well, purgatory is a real thing, and it's a purification process. My brother, quite honestly, doesn't deserve to be in hell. He wasn't a serial killer, He might have been kind of a jerk, but he wasn't a criminal. At times, I guess, did I sound very harsh? Like, he was kind of anti-Christian, yeah, but now he's in hell, now he's in purgatory, and I have to pray him out of there? I didn't realize that's one of my obligations as a Christian. Well, duh. I thought that there was no such thing as purgatory. I thought you're not supposed to pray for the people who have passed away. I mean, there might be more than one male relative there in purgatory. Like, do I have to pray for all of them? Well, I suppose if you're a dutiful Christian, you ought to do it. You'd want them to do it for you if you were in purgatory. Oh, okay. Well, then, I am praying for my brother in purgatory. I mean, even though I'm not a Catholic, I'm going to start praying for my brother in purgatory and other relatives who have passed away, not having embraced Jesus as their Savior, not having lived a moral lifestyle. Oh. I mean, I get tired of praying for myself, like, oh, prosperity, God, prosperity, favor, and blessings. Well, it's okay. I've already made so many donations. What about your brother? He might be in betwixt and between. But the main point of my message really wasn't purgatory. It was divorce. It hurts. It hurts. And when you say, well, somebody's a narcissist, so you just have to leave him. My mother left my father, because I guess he checked off all the boxes being an abusive narcissist, but he never beat her up or anything, as far as I knew. That was such a damaging episode of my life. But I had other damaging episodes, but this was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. I can't get along with my wife. I've talked to people, it's like, over the internet, over the years. It's like, well, I mean, people even said they could fly me over to their country. It's like, I don't want to fly over to your country. I'm married. I don't want to have a relationship with you. I don't want to cheat on my husband. I thought I was just looking for a friend. I guess I was wrong, It's like the Eagles song, Those Shoes. I said, Mom, what's that song about? No shoes? Why is she wearing no shoes? She said, those shoes. You stupid idiot. It's those shoes, not no shoes. Oh, okay, Mom, I got it. Yeah. Imagine. All the songs they would play in the bar. What about perhaps an envious older relative? I have an older relative who's female who happens to be I'm talking in tongues now. That's right, I am talking in tongues. Yes, I bleeped. Envious of other females? This is something demonic. You're envious of the younger females. Wow, they've taken my place. It's like, nobody can ever replace you, mother. Nobody can ever replace you. But many people try to. But I never tried to replace anybody's mother at all. So why are some people seemingly trying to do that in my life? Well, from the very beginning, I knew I was envious of you. You're envious because you have like a demonic spirit in you. Envy is not, I know it's one of the works of the flesh. I'm not envious of anybody, quite honestly. Like, the other day I actually, never mind, I don't want to talk about it, so. It's better if you just shut the fuck up, like my dad told me when I was a little baby. One time I was left alone with him in a crib when my mom had gone out shopping or whatever to the hairdresser. And I kept crying, and he loved to relate the story. He said, your mother left me alone with you. And you just wouldn't stop crying. And finally I shouted, shut the fuck up! And, I was quiet after that. And he just loved telling that story. What kind of a weird person? Well, you know my family. So I'm not being quiet. Sorry. By the way, I'm still alive, so I can speak. Goodbye.